In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your outer tie rod on your Ford Expedition. It's located behind the front wheel. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to remove our lug nuts. Remove your wheel. So I'm going to mark this first before beginning, just so we don't mess up our alignment too bad. Usually just put a line where the jam nut is and the threads are. And for this one, I'm going to go all the way across, just so I know where it was sitting. And I'm also going to count my threads when I take it off. Next, I'm going to use a 21mm socket and take off this nut. If it starts spinning on you, you're going to have to hold it still. I'm going to hold the stud still with a 10mm socket and use a ratchet wrench for the nut, which is a 21mm. If you don't have that, you can use a 13/16. All right. I think we can take that off, do the rest by hand. I did use some rust penetrant to help with that. And now we are going to undo our jam nut. Using a 24mm wrench, I'm going to break this loose. It's pretty rusty, so I'm going to give it a whack with a hammer. It works pretty good sometimes. We're going to unjam this. And then we're going to take our outer tie rod out and spin it off. If your inner tie rod is spinning with your outer tie rod, you want to hold this still. So I'm going to put this back in since ours is. So to keep your inner tie rod from spinning, which you don't want it to spin because you're going to mess up your alignment, you're going to put a 15mm wrench on these flat spots up top and lean it up against your control arm. And now we can spin this off. Keep your jam nut right where it is. And I'm going to get another wrench so I can spin that off. May have to go back and forth with it a few times if it's rusty like ours. But once it gets going, it should go. All right, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to count my threads so that I know it's loose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 31 we'll call it. So I'm just going to put a 31 here so I remember. Now we're going to install our new one. You're going to thread it on. You're going to count your threads to 31. Make sure that your old tie rod and your new tie rod match up correctly too. That's kind of important because if it's a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, you're going to mess up your alignment as well. So this is all looking pretty good. So we're going to install. Just so I know when I've done a full turn, I'm just going to put a yellow mark on my tie rod. And we're going to begin. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 31. So just a note, my turns were 31. Yours may not be. It depends on the vehicle and its alignment. Do whatever number you come up with as you turn your tie rod out. Now we could put our tie rod into the knuckle. I'll loosen my jam nut a little, and we'll tighten that after. Make sure it lines up well. Might have to turn this in a little bit. If it's hard to move, you can use a wrench and just turn it, push it in a little bit. They are a little stiff. That lines up well. And you're going to push it in. Like so. I'm just going to stop my nut down here, just so it stays in the knuckle. And now we're going to jam our nut. Now we're going to turn our nut up to tighten it against the outer tie rod. Just going to snug it. There is a torque spec for that. The torque spec for this jam nut is 76 foot-pounds. If you have a crow's foot that's a 24 millimeter, you can go ahead and do that. If you don't, it's fine. Just do your best. I'm going to hold my inner tie rod still as I jam it up. Just give it a good tightening. And you can remove this. Snug this up, and we're going to torque it to 85 foot-pounds. You may have to apply pressure here to get it to stop spinning. You don't want it to spin. So now we're going to check to make sure our hole lines up through that nut, so we can put our cotter pin in. If it doesn't, you're just going to tighten it a little bit more till it does. You don't want to loosen it. So now you're going to feed your cotter pin through. You're going to make sure this side's out here. And you're going to bend it down. When you put your cotter pin through, make sure that the longer one is on the bottom. And then you can bend it down. Use a pair of wire cutters and fold it up a little bit. You might have to bang it in place. And then this one you can wrap around to the side, like that. Install your wheel, start your lug nuts. And you can tighten them up in a crisscross manner. I like to lock the wheel on with my lower lug nut. Using a 21 millimeter socket, we're going to torque our wheels to 150 foot-pounds. We're going to do that in a crisscross manner. Now you're going to want to take your vehicle down to your local alignment shop to get it aligned.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.